The jewel is a lovely, classic, smooth move. And I'm going to show you 3 variations, and then we're going to put them together into a lovely little combination. As usual, this lesson is very much for intermediate and advanced belly dancers and for belly dance teachers. So I'm assuming that you know the basic moves of belly dancing. Today, I'm going to teach you this absolutely beautiful move that here in England, and I believe in other countries as well, they call the jewel, but I know not everyone calls it that. But it's a real classic move, and there are 3 different variations that I know that I'm going to teach you today, and then we're going to put them together into a lovely little combination. The first one is what I think of as the pure Egyptian classic style jewel. What it is, it's a half a circle with a bit of a wobble, a half a circle with a bit of a wobble, half a circle with a bit of a wobble. So let's just face the mirror so that you can see what's happening a little bit better. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to take 2 walking circles to the right and the left. And each time I'm going to touch the final foot, as it were. So I'm going step, together, step, touch. Step, together, step, touch. Yep. Now when I do that touch, it naturally just lifts my hip up a little bit because I've got my heel up and that naturally just lifts the hip a bit, yeah? So step, together, step, touch, and that pulls that hip up just a tiny bit. Don't actually force it, just let it happen naturally, yeah? Now the next thing that I'm going to do is when I do that touch, I'm going to imagine that somebody has given me a little bit of a kind of a karate chop here, just where my legs kind of meet my body, if you like. Yeah, just a little. So that just pops my bottom back a bit. Yeah, it just makes my bum stick out a bit. Yeah, step, together, step, touch, step, together, step, touch. So I'm already sort of creating a slightly different look. Yeah, can you see that that's just making that hip look even more, just like a little detail. They say that this is called a jewel because it's like a lovely jewel here on the side of your hip. Yeah, so here, like a little sparkle and a little sparkle. Okay, so that is kind of like the basic mechanics of this first move. Step, well, building up to it. Step, together, step, touch. So I'm doing a little pull in here and there. Now I'm not pulling in my waist. All I'm doing is I'm just having a little cut here, and that, as I say, just makes my bum stick out a bit. Let's just try that doing 1 circle rather than 2. So I'm going step, touch, step, touch. Yeah, same principle. It's just we're only going to do the 1. I like starting off with a couple because that just kind of gets the body moving. Step, touch, step, touch. Look at it from the front. Step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, touch. I'm going step, step. Yep. Now, as you get familiar with that move, you can make it nice and soft so that you're not feeling quite as here, yeah? Just let it happen naturally and softly, and you'll just get a nice, gentle wobble. But don't force it, because if you force it, it's just going to look a little bit too forced, really. Which isn't what we want. It's got to feel easy and kind of lazy, this one. The next one is a little bit more complex. The next one comes out of a figure of 8 rather than a circle. So here, what I'm going to do, it's a backwards figure of 8, yeah? So I'm start at the beginning of that figure of 8 and it's going to come round to the back, but it's only half of it, yeah? And then I'm going to pull this hip forward and back, yeah? Then the other hip goes back, forward, back. So can you see a normal full figure of 8, of course, backwards is this. I'm just going to do half of it. So I'm doing it on the right hip. And as it comes to the back, I go forward and back. Now that naturally leaves my left hip facing a little bit forward. So that starts that movement off again, back, forward, back. Let me show you from the front. So I'm going back, forward, back, half a circle, half a figure of 8, and back, forward, back. And this is the other half, back, forward, back. Let me show you this way around. And back, forward, back. Yeah. So back, forward, back, and back, forward, back. Start the figure of 8 off and push it back and back, forward, back. The third one is very much like the second one, but it adds in a little bend of the knee. It's a little bit more fancy, really. What I'm going to do this time is, rather than just doing a straightforward half of a figure of 8, I'm going to bend the knee where I'm creating the first half of the figure of 8. Yeah, does that make sense? So I'm bending my right knee. So I'm going to start off on my right hip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bend that knee and I'm going to push down into it, and then as my knee slightly straightens up, my hip is going to go back, forward, back. So I'm bending into it and back, forward, back, and back, forward, back. Push down and push down and push down, push down, push down, back, forward, back, push down, back, forward, back, push down, back, forward, back. Let's look at this from the front. Push down, back, forward, back, and down, da, da, and dee, da, 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 and dee, da, da, da. The other thing to point out is that in the same way as when we're doing the little circle, the foot just kind of comes and touches it. So it's what we would call loose here. It's the same thing with this figure of 8. That because the second and third versions, because as I put my weight onto this foot, this makes this one nice and free, yeah? And it's ready to go back, forward, and back, forward, back. So you can actually, if you want to, lift that foot off. But again, I wouldn't stress too much about making that happen. I sometimes think if we actually try and make certain things happen in a move, we lose the essence of them and they can actually become more complex. Just let the natural thing happen. But it's worth saying that my foot is kind of free here. So it's kind of lifting, yeah? Likewise with this one, down, forward, yeah? And down, back, forward, back. And can you see that my foot just slightly lifts off the ground? Dee-da-ba-da, dee-da-da-da. Nice to add in some diagonal arms with this one, and then you're emphasizing what's happening. So let's put it together into a combination. What I suggest we're going to do is we're going to do 2 different kinds of jaws, and I'll leave it up to you to choose which is the second one that you do. We're going to start off with the circle, number 1. Circle and in, circle. And then an 8 one, either with or without the plie, up to you. 8, back, forward, back. 8, back, forward, back. Then we're going to lift that hip, so I've got my weight on my left hip. When I have my weight on my left hip, on my left leg, I can then bring that one up into an upwards 8. So we're going to bring it up and in and up and in. Yeah? So, circle, tuck, half figure of 8 with a twist, half figure of 8 with a twist. Lift the left hip up and in, and then we'll finish off with a 3-step turn. 1, 2, 3. The great thing about a 3-step turn, as all teachers know, I'm sure, and all choreographers know, is this, it gets you on the other foot. So it's really great for teaching. So circle and a circle. Half an 8, half an 8. Inwards 8, or upwards inwards 8. 3-step turn. My weight is now on my right foot, so I can go on the left. Circly jaw, 8 jaw. Upwards in on the right hip, upwards in on the left hip, 3-step turn. So that principle of where your weight is, showing you what you're going to do next. When I have the weight over here, if I want to do an upwards 8, this is where it's going to come from. And I like to do an upwards 8 with a little bit of a forwards, yeah? So it's a really nice twist. It particularly works well with a combination like this, where it's lovely, sort of twisty, wriggly kind of combination. So we'll do it one more time and then I'll put on some music. Circle, circle, half an 8, half an 8. In, up and inwards, a 3-step turn, and to the left, and the right, and half an 8, and up in, and a 3-step turn, and let's do it with the music a couple of times. I'm going to put on some music now so we can run it through. But in the meantime, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, because I bring out a new video every Friday. And also check out the links below to my online school and also to the various freebies I've got on offer. Anyway, let's put on the music and we'll run it through a few times. 5, 6, 7, here we go.